Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team Fortress TV's coverage of ETF2L Season 31. We have the Div 1 bracket final between the Theorists and professional Disney Fangirls. I am not alone, though. I won't be stuttering my way through the entirety of this without the help of Gemm on production and my co-caster, DmMmTm. How you doing, Dum?
Hey, pretty good. Basically, the situation on TFTV is, for the people unaware, is that obviously we try to cover everything in Premiership and ESA Invite as much as we can, and everything below that is basically up to people that want to do it, and if there's time and people for it. And today we had time and people, and that happened to be a game that I was at least personally pretty interested in. So I jumped some people together to make this happen for the Div 1 upper bracket final. And from what I've seen between these two teams, this could potentially be a really, really interesting close game. From the bit of insight I have, and in general, I just really like to look at these upcoming teams that are really close to being some of the next best, but not quite there yet, and just pick apart how they do things, what they're doing right, where they could improve, and stuff like that. It's just really interesting with different teams.
Yeah, well, with Div 1, these will be the teams. So whoever wins Div 1 will have free access to Premiership. I believe that's the case. Yeah,
yes,
that is the case.
The winner
next
of this
season
will be in Premiership next season. The Div 1 winner out of this game. The winner of this is obviously in Grand Finals with some sort of advantage. I don't know for sure. Probably some map pick advantage, which is always nice.
Out later.
Something like that. It's still nice to have the pick, just in case you have an inherent weakness on a map or something like that. If you're just always bad on Snake Runaway, for example, you can just outright ban it.
Yeah, I think that's really important to get that little bit of an advantage. But let's talk about the teams. I'm just going to run through the roster of Disney Fangirls, what we see in front of us right now, and then we'll have a little talk about that. So for Disney Fangirls, we've got the following players. We have Eklund and Toast on Scouts. We have Viljak and Calling playing the Soldiers. We have CJ on the Medic, and then Neo on Demo. It's quite an interesting team all in all. They've done pretty well this season. The only team they've lost against is actually a 2-map loss to these guys, the Theorists. So they've had a quite strong season. These are the team that, it's gonna be make or break really for Disney Fangirls when it comes to this match.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. The roster, it's a really long-standing team for the most part. I think 3 or 4 of them played together for ages. And they made a few new additions. The Finn squad of Neon and Eklund is new to the roster, for example. And they've done well in the past on various teams, now joining another team here that needed a strong diamond scout to just improve the roster. And it, like you said, has been going really well so far.
Yeah, if you want to run us through the Theorist roster?
Yeah, we have Half and Yeehaw on Scout. We have Jordy and Collate on the Soldiers. We have a Mac on Demoman and Dowie on Medic. And for anybody that's played Pugshare basically ever in the past few years, probably has seen these names before, and they just really like to grind the game. They played with each other in various teams in some capacity, maybe not quite as consistently as, say, CJ, Toast, and Viljak, but still, they've played together quite a lot in some form or another, and it got them here. I remember when I was first starting playing the game, when they were still in mid, and it's hard to lose those preconceptions, but they've certainly gotten a lot better since then.
Yeah, the only name I know is Dowie. Personally, I don't play much Pugs, so the name that really stands out is Dowie, but I met him at I-63, so I've seen these guys around. Actually, no, Mac is a familiar name, but honestly, I haven't seen too much into this game. I'm going to be really pulling on your theories and ideas on this one, Dum, as we go into it. But we're actually going to go live, so quickly, the maps is the best of 3 are going to be Process, Granary, and Snakewater. We're taking it away with the first process of ETF2L Season 31 Div 1 hosted by STN Trading and Copenhagen Games. And we come into this first mid. Mac is a little bit far forward on this left-hand side, trying to deal a lot of damage onto Neon. He's in a good spot right now. He's getting the support from his team. Jordy doing a nice big bomb. CJ actually now in the thick of it. So many players going down for Disney Fangirls. They've lost 3. They're on to their 4th loss. Only 2 going down for the Theorists.
CJ's completely alone.
CJ, get out.
To chase.
Oh, he's going to get cleaned up there. And that is a full wipe for Disney Fangirls. And Theorists ready to go forward. And they have full Uber ad for this last push.
Yeah, Theorists like playing aggressive, and you could see it really well here. And the biggest mistake was that they, on Disney Fangirls side, didn't really play around the sniper too much. They just left him alone and tried to push right side. And the aggressiveness of Theory just worked really well into the 5 people stacked up on the right side really well, completely picked them apart. Sniper alone, I think Collate it was, might have been Jolly, he jumped him completely alone, picked him up as well, and it worked really perfectly here.
Yeah, and they're looking to go through 4 right now, as they're going to take the Uber in, they're going to clean up that sentry gun nice and quickly. They've got some pressure along this right-hand side, looking to get onto point, but right now, CJ actually goes down, so there's no healings for Disney Fangirls. The rest of Theorists, only Geordie actually going down. Now 3 down on Fangirls side. They've made a play for point. They've cleared the sticks, but Neon holding on strong. Helps get a second kill. There's so many. Only Yeehaw left. Look at this hold. Just 2 players holding back the entire team. V-Jack and Neon. Neon with the 1v1 against Yeehaw. He's got some respawners.
Oh, he missed the sticky.
Oh my god.
But his partner's come in time. So just let it Jolly still there, though. He might just sack automatic. You don't know what he's doing. Toast checks for it now. Sees it coming. Jolly just looking lost right now on second. Toast wins that fight relatively easily, and that was a close call. It was actually
how did
really
they
well.
hold on to that?
They just had a bad point play. Collate didn't need to die there at all, and now it just comes around completely. Collate from behind though makes up for his mistakes. Lots of damage onto CJ. Will get the kill as weak as well, but that doesn't matter too much because they just have the upper. Only 3 people, all of which die pretty quickly on second. Nice job by Collate. They made up for his mistakes on last, and will give them such a push into last now, and you can't mess these up. Before, I give you an excuse here, but now this has to work.
Don't say that. Don't say you can't mess it up, because we've seen
Well,
people
you
do it
can, but
before.
like...
As the respawners are back in and they're going in for the defense, so many, but 3 players just absolutely get bursted down. They play that point play, and that's the first round to the Theorists.
Just to clear that up, when I say you can't mess this up, I don't mean you physically can't, because we clearly saw that you could. But you just can't afford to. You really can't. It's just too good of an opportunity, and they just barely lost out on it. This time, however, with the kills they got on second, it's just way too good an opportunity to just let it go.
But I've seen stuff like that happen before. You know, you think they're going to do it, and they're not actually going to do it. But right now, Mac, very far forward, standing on some stickies, though. May take a little bit of damage from Neon, but Neon has to really not peek as Geordie goes in. Mac gets cleaned up, though, as well as Geordie. That's 2 players instantly down for the Theorists. They get CJ, though. Played. Really nice bomb in from him. And now it's the post sort of fight where they have got Af with the med. Dowie and Collade is in the back lines. It's kind of scrappy. No one's really like gonna go in on that. They're just gonna hold out. No, Dowie wants to go in. They're gonna go in, maybe try and recap this. They're feeling quite confident, but there are respawners coming in. Oakland actually gets cleaned up, and they've actually secured this. No one's coming in from behind.
Spawners are coming in.
Yeah,
people spawn on the blue side as well. Now try to help out the soldier, but it's a little bit too late. Unfortunately, losing out on that here for Disney Fangirls. They had a nice start. They baited out Jolly, jumping to 2 scouts by hiding them in the corner pretty nicely. With the same jump we did at first minute, just this time the scouts were just hidden, so you couldn't actually anticipate them where he was jumping. So that worked out nice at the beginning, but they just lost out too much. The second jump eventually picked up the medic, and from there on out they just waited.
So much aggression. Look at this aggression. They know they've got this Uber advantage, so they're going to come in through 1. They use the Uber. They're trying to catch the players, but nice rotation out of Disney Fangirls. They don't want to get caught out here, as Af just goes straight in, trying to deal damage onto whoever he can. We see 2 players actually going down. That's a soldier and a scout going down for Disney Fangirls. Geordie going down as well. There's some good frags for both teams, but Clyde jumps over the top. Corlin is in a bad position. They're trying to play point right now, and they're just building that up, but Neon's not having any of it. He goes on to the point. He's going to get cleaned up, and that's the second round for the Theorists.
Yeah, the chase through the upper area, through Secret, looked kind of sketchy at the beginning, but it baited Disney Fangirls to try to approach them through Secret instead of from anywhere else. And they just wasted like most of the Uber trying to go through Secret, which didn't end up mattering at all in the end. They just rotated away from them and picked the post-Uber fight instead, and just worked really nicely again, just winning out the fight in the end.
Theorists look very much in control right now. Max taking a lot of damage, goes down to 2 HP, gets the arrow from Dowie though, and a bit of aggression coming out of Disney Fangirls. We're going to see some high point play being played by them, but the double bomb is coming in. Are they going to connect on anyone? First rocket, second rocket onto CJ. He goes, ooh, what a return air shot from Coolin though. And now they need to get that play onto Dory. They don't want to lose this at all, Disney Fangirls. And there is a little bit of height calling, going to pressure them. Neon just too far forward, going to get cleaned up by Af. They go for another play. They get the scout, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Can Dory stay alive? Mac finishes that off with a nice little pipe. That was so
unfortunate. They had them cornered in the little death corner there. Really well, and they just needed to commit together quickly. Neon was just a bit too weak. If he had any more health, him and Colin could have easily jumped there with the scout cleanup, but they just couldn't. They didn't have the help for it, and it just gave Dowie and Co enough time to win out these fights, even if just barely. And again, just scrap away with no mid-fight. And even if you only win by a little bit on these mid-fights, consistently winning them is just giving you a head start every single round.
Yeah, Billjack actually cleaning someone up in IT, and Theorists looking to make some pressure onto second right now. They're going in relatively slow. They're just looking for an opportunity to get some picks or just bully them out. Toast taking a lot of damage, but they're going, what? They're wrapping around the entire team. They're going to use this Uber right now and see if they can catch out CJ. CJ so far forward. The wrap around from Geordie gets the kill on the CJ. Now Dory's just trying to stay alive with his scout. They're not having too much problem from Eklund. Eklund's going to get cleaned up, but they haven't capped second. Neon trapped in lobby. He's going to get chased by this scout. Dory's going to cap it all by himself, and that's the third. They are so in control right now, DmMmTm.
They really are. That was such a blind, just hope commit by Disney Fangirls from Roland without really knowing what's on the other side, and they just got called out for it completely, and you really can't make those mistakes.
No, you really can't, especially when you're in an upper bracket final. But the Theorists looking so strong. Coming into this fourth mid, maybe, just maybe, we'll see something out of Disney Fangirls as they're looking to set up both teams. Geordie getting some high ground as well. Khaled doing a nice little strafe, just trying not to do anything. But Neon gets pressured on Billjack and CJ. So many players going down. Only 2 players left on the Disney team. They're going to go for a play onto Dory. Dory stays alive really nicely. Toast goes for the final attempt, and that's another wipe. Whew.
Disney Fangirls need a new approach for the mid-fight. Right side hasn't been working once this entire game so far, and it just seems to be getting worse right now. Without Fury even really like that deeply approaching anymore, like at the beginning they just throw the soldiers a bit and try to follow up without deeply committing into the enemy team, just trying to scatter them out from mid-distance, and it's working out brilliantly, and they just can't find an answer right now. They desperately need a new strat for the mid-fights, otherwise it's just curtains already.
Yeah, it's just there's so much more control and pressure play coming out of the Theorists that I don't feel like Disney Fangirls can do anything. So they've done an Uber in through 4. They've spotted out the sentry gun, but they only just clear it now as the Uber fades. So rebombing in, coming in from Billjack, Colin trying to do something. Colin gets cleaned up. They managed to get Collide, Geordie going down as well. So that's both soldiers down for the Theorists. Demo down as well. They're going to clean up that scout. Dory the only one left for the Theorist side, and he needs to run as fast as he can. But Eklund's going for the attempt.
Yeah,
maybe a chase.
Really, really strong hold. That's something they desperately needed, and they need some more of that. They need to stop this momentum. Maybe they just need to start playing a bit slower, a bit more careful in general, not just on last right now, but for the moment they have some momentum forward with this advantage. They just need to keep it forward as much as they can. Getting the pick on Jordy Hape's colleague going weak, forcing everybody to choke with just a bit of spam. Maybe getting another pick would help a lot. Colleague might be called out. The Echelon on the other side of the door will catch him out just fine. Both soldiers down. Makes life a lot easier. Makes you so hard to get forced here, and this just gives them mid, potentially second as well. If Cap is slow, Soldier has to do it alone. But for the moment, it seems like they'll be getting all those points for free.
Yeah, they will be able to hold on to this second. Jordy is just going to wait for the chance to spawn back, maybe. He's being very patient, actually. He may go for a play, but that's completely sticked up, and he decides to back spawn back in. Now, Disney Fangirls in a position where they're just going to send Eklund in. He's going to go for the attempt onto Dory. Going to get cleaned up, but Dory does go low, so he is going to have to back up a little bit. But, you know, no pressure for the Theorists right now. They can lose a round if they want, but the best thing they can do is just play that clock. They do like to play aggressive from what I've seen, but, you know, we'll see what they do.
Yeah, right now they can just pick and choose whatever risks they want, and at the moment it's just waiting for anything bigger than a single pick and have the sniper do the work. As they say, Yeehaw picks up calling, makes life a bit easier, and unsurprisingly, Echelon with the speed into last picks up the sniper rifle himself. Colin starting to sack in now, but CJ is just on mid, falling back all the way with Toast body blocking as well. to deny that. Seeing it coming from miles away, that's a nice heads-up play there, and something they desperately need. A single pick, like I said, for both sides here is not quite enough, especially not with either side having off classes that make pushes potentially harder, so they need a bit more than that, but if they can deal with sacks, at least they can be safe on second for the time being. And sure, it's a 3-0 deficit right now, but they still have plenty time.
Yeah, and Yeehaw right now looking for a couple of angles as Disney Fangirls start to take their own sort of space in lobby, looking for an angle for Eklund. They're going to have Geordie bomb in. Eklund's going to clean that up with a little damage from his friends. And yeah, it's just...
Through.
It's ooh.
Why did Dowie use? What happened? I didn't even see what happened. They just tried to pop something
wait, what?
in lobby and they absolutely caught nothing. And CJ and Core called window bit, tried to pop in. Wilczek takes on the sentry. Not on Uber, though. Will get caught out himself pretty quickly. Still pushes on Uber, just lasts a bit longer, but they kite most of it. Doesn't matter though. Nobody
they get it.
Neon on the point. They tried to kite Uber for just a bit too long.
I have no idea what happened with Dowie there. Why did he use? It's not that detrimental, just for the fact that it is still 3-1, but well done to Disney Fangirls for getting that point, and now they might be able to get a little win behind themselves and, you know, claw some points back. As we come on to this fifth mid right now, DmMmTm, Mac is again a lot quicker than Neon, looking to get some spam onto the players that are coming in through choke, and we're waiting for the bombs. Khaled looking for something. Bill Jack and Colin bombing over the top. Dowie taking a little bit of damage, but not able to do so much. And oh my gosh, CJ goes down. So many players go down on either side. But it looks like the Theorists are in a much better spot right now. Neon trying his best, but he's going to be the last one to die. And that's another wipe.
Yeah, you could tell how desperately they didn't want to go right side like every single time, but the bombs still found them regardless. And the scouts just barely react in time, and suddenly CJ is just dead already. And it's just going so quick for them right now. And it just makes all the difference right now with these bombs just being so proactive, just catching people early enough, even if they don't get the kills themselves to solve this. They have this dealt enough damage that everybody else can do the rest, even if it's from then on just 4 people on the field for them.
Yeah, and right now, rotation into lobby. We may be seeing another push. Don't see why not through 3. We see Matt get completely denied by that sentry gun, but Geordie helps finish it off, and now they're rotating on this right hand side. Nice rotation and denial out of Disney Fangirls. They're trying to protect that point as much as possible. Geordie going down, they're bombing all of those players, forcing them out as much as possible. Khaled goes in, tries to deal some damage, gets the force onto CJ. Not going to be able to chase too hard. They're trying to come into second right now. They're able to do so. Not a huge amount of contention coming out of the Theorists. They're going to let him get the point, but they're just spamming. And
most importantly, they don't need to contest this right now. They have this massive advantage. They got CJ to use once their Uber faded, and given the disadvantage situation that was on the field already, that means they'll have about 30-40 advantage off the back of that. So they can't be too mad about this. It's sure they didn't get it, but they'll at least get another chance immediately trying to rotate through.
Look at this rotate
early though, which is kind of sketchy calling. Still there, falls back early. Uber comes in, but with Geordie going down early, they saw it coming immediately and they won't catch anything else, and they popped in for second in the first place, which denies a lot of the ideas they could have had into last with this advantage beforehand. Collate as well getting called out in 1, makes life so much harder, and suddenly all this effort for the repush is for naught, as now Disney Fangirls time to push with Uber, but once again, just a leapfrog here. Now significantly less advantage for Dowie once the Uber fades, which is good for Disney Fangirls, and they can just get the point back.
Yeah, they're going to get the point, but there is a bit of denial, but they're getting spammed so much. We see Geordie trying to do some sort of distraction.
The biggest error of Dowie's life, I think.
Oh,
if I saw that correctly.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That was cool. I guess I didn't see.
Yeah, he just got denied by air, and then Dowie just hit a really nice air on him to keep him alive, and he just rotated back out. That was pretty nice. The small things like that, like losing a player, that would have been pretty bad, because they have this advantage. And with 5,
Geordie
so
creating space for his team though, as they're looking to dry push with a little bit of an Uber ad into second. They're not getting denied too hard by Disney Fangirls, and right now they're just going to get second for free. It's going to be an equal Uber situation, and so far the Theorists really in control right now, Dom.
Maybe, but Disney Fangirls have gotten a bit more composure back in the game. They are playing a lot more conservative now, and if not for the whole leapfrogging situation back and forth on second, they would have had themselves a disadvantage situation on last. Now they've gotten themselves sure back on last, but on even Uber, so could be a lot worse, and now they have the off classes coming out here as well.
Bill Jack on spine, gets Mac, with a nice little backstab. That, you know, that may actually help. He manages to juke Geordie and collide, and he's going for another rotate. He goes for another attempt. He gets called out quite quickly, and he's going to go down. That's the thing about surprise attacks. They only really work once.
I wish they would have tried something with that, even if it wasn't sort of... See, now Colin commits without the Spider, he deals good damage, but imagine if the Spider is tracked for that. They would have been completely caught off guard, sure. Both of them would have died, but they still both dead, so it doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, now...
better, right?
Now they're at a two-player disadvantage, and the demo, Mac, is now playing Spy. So we'll see what sort of hilarity
as well.
He's going to do. Wait, no, CJ had that. CJ had that straight up, and Mac's going to get cleaned up by Eklund. Questionable play, but, you know, they've got a lot of breathing room, so, you know, why not? Why not have a bit of fun?
I mean, they do have 2 rounds of lead here, but I don't know, losing the demo is still always sketchy. But it could force a mistake out of Disney Fangirls, and right now they at least try to commit, but they lose Jordy early.
Dory gets trapped in. Early. Yeah, they get trapped in so much, and Af is actually completely disconnected from his medic. He's going to take quite a lot of damage. He is going to end up going down to Viljak. Viljak wants to chase this a little bit, but Collade in there, just defending an IT. And, yeah, it's...
Yeah, the only mistakes being forced so far is by themselves on theory right now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and Disney Fangirls gets the momentum swing back. It's almost, even for all intents and purposes, it might as well be, unless this goes into a really long mid-fight. Toast just gets cratered by Collade. Doesn't help for Disney Fangirls in this fight, and they take so much damage on entry. They just get forced back immediately. Everybody's so weak. Everybody takes so much damage, but nobody wants to go in for the kill.
Jordy's actually chasing quite aggressively, and Collade's coming in with the bomb alongside that. CJ surfs out with only 20 health. He nearly got caught up. Jordy's going just right behind right now. I think he's going for the chase onto CJ, or just to try and get a frag. He's going to get cleaned up. I don't know what he was doing there. And
Yeehaw was in such a good position to clean it up after Jordy's jumped out. CJ was weak, he was practically above him in lobby, and he just didn't know any better. It is such a missed opportunity. Sticks up top the crate, they need to be careful that they could easily actually catches that. And they want to just keep on the player at forward. But Dowie and Mac have different ideas. They want to pop in, get an exchange out. Decent exchange for what it's worth, 10% worse isn't that bad. But they get the kill onto Viljak early, which means a lot. They take a lot of damage, but they deal so much more.
Fight though, and they managed to pick up 3 players, including the medic right now. They're cleaning house. Toast's going to get cleaned up as well, and only Neon left. What a post-Uber fight done.
They got just scattered around before the post Uber so well to just instantly collapse onto everybody on the point. Really well done there on this Uber exchange. And that's exactly what you want to see, making up for a few mistakes here and there they had going into the situation. But now they have a really good opportunity to get into last. Losing F on entry to lobby hurts, but they might as well just slow this down and wait for the advantage here.
Yeah, they have got about 40% ad. They're building it out, so it's just gone to... Yeah, no, it's still 40. So they'll be able to use this. They're going to rotate into lobby, I imagine, and do some sort of play. We've got Toast bringing up that sentry gun. Alongside that, no other off classes, no heavy or anything like that. So hopefully they can have a fast rotation. As no, they're going to go in 1. They're going to try and catch these players. The rotation has started. Af actually gets dropped by Dowie. Not able to save his teammate. Viljak just walks past the Ubered players, tries to clean up someone who isn't. He's going to take a lot of damage now, and he's going to get cleaned up. But whilst that's happening, Jordy went in and caught CJ. So they have got the heal advantage. So they can re-push on this if they wish to do so, just based on that heal advantage. And Dowie wants to do it. Dowie wants to go in. Neon trying to deny them. Max now completely separated, and it's a little bit scrappy, but Af picks up Neon. They're ready to go back in. There's a bit of a scout scuffle going on in 2. Toast super low. He's going to get cleaned up. Mac actually got cleaned up as well by Eklund. There's Yeehaw on point all on his own, but his teammates are in. And oh my god, Jordy gets sent absolutely flying. Collade bombing in as well. They just need to clean those players off point. They're going to get that time on there. And that's going to be 4-1 to the Theorists.
Yeah, you can tell with how they're playing that they want to keep on playing aggressive, but sometimes they just call themselves out with it a bit too much and just want to do too many things at the same time. And it almost costed them around there a little bit. Or maybe not costed them around, but costed them a push there by just trying too hard to do things quickly. That not everybody was quite on the same page there. Dowie and Co were just still on second with like 2 people already on last. Almost went really bad there, but they just out-DM'd them by just a bit at the end and guessed them in the round win.
Yeah, and on this mid, Dowie gets completely denied, and Right now it's down to the bombs and the plays they're getting from the soldier. Khaled goes in for a play. Viljak and Corlin are in a good position to bomb onto those players. Dowie taking a lot of damage. Eklund onto him as well. Oh my god, Geordie with the save of his medic. They're cleaning up Toast as well. They've done really well just to deal with this. They have lost a player, but you know, that's the that's the second mid going to Disney Fangirls, I believe.
Yeah, they desperately need some more of these. And the thing I don't like about this mid-fight is that the scouts were the ones actually committing in. You want your scouts for just defensive, to deny jumpers in any shape or form, and just have the safety of your medic. But they played it like the reverse of what Fury is doing, and have the scouts going deep with the soldiers staying back. That's really strange. At least, though, the early half of this mid-fight was so much more passive that those bombs at the beginning just couldn't go anywhere, and that's so important. They couldn't deal with those before, and this time, Geordie and Khaled got stuffed quite a bit more.
Yeah, and they managed to pick up a player in IT. They're looking to play sort of player numbers right now, but Viljak is in behind and the rest of the team have gone in, and there's been an Uber exchange, and Dowie manages to save Geordie. Af is in a bad position. Mac ends up going down. Dowie not able to save him, but all of these players are getting mulched in on Choke. Khaled goes in for a big bomb, doesn't really connect with too much, but they managed to get a good few frags, and they're going to chase right now, I imagine. Yeah, that's what Khaled wants to do, is they're spamming them out. But in the return, Corlin holding his ground, pushing Dowie away. Bomb coming in again from Khaled onto CJ. Gets his man, goes down, but he's got advantage back in his team's favor.
Yeah, really impressive jump there by Khaled, just weaving around everybody, straight onto the medic, and this is such a sketchy position to be in this late into a fight. Just desperately trying to get deeper and deeper into enemy territory, knowing that spawns are coming, so they needed to either do something or leave as quickly as they can, and doing something subsequently also let them leave really safely. And now they just have this opportunity in front of them to come into mid relatively easily, either by popping through or just dying. Viljak from behind, they get Dowie out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think they were even thinking that would have been a possibility, but oh my god, that shot from Calling to actually get Khaled back down to gravity, but CJ's trapped in super low, manages to survive with 12 HP, but these two players, Yeehaw and Mac, are holding mid right now. They're not really backing out, when arguably they should. Yeehaw's going to a play, it's going to go down to Eklund. They're going to back out through Choke, with Mac being the only survivor of his team during that fight.
That was really nice dodging there by CJ. He died so many times to just jumps getting past his teammates, but he dodged like 3 pipes coming his way, and he desperately needed to secure this advantage. They still don't quite have what they have to play at, so they want to keep this forward as quickly as they can. Neon catches out Geordie. Viljak going deep, nice air shot onto Mac, gets him weak. Khaled gets on. Neon falls eventually, but they force them back all the way into one. Still, they used trying to catch people, and nobody is deep enough to actually make any value out of this. Really unfortunate for Disney Fangirls to not get more of this. Dowie has advantage now. Last, they have a few seconds here of both soldiers being dead, and they want to take advantage of that, but there's a level 1 sentry that wastes some time for the soldiers to spawn. Still, they are looking
but they're playing so much point time. All of those players get caught up on point though, Dom. Toast going down as well. Yeehaw is with the chase onto Viljak. Viljak and Neon, the only surviving member. They completely beefed that last push.
Yeah, like you said, they really shouldn't have played the point there. It was so easy to get caught there. Instead, they should have just played a bit more passive. Maybe a single player trying to bait the point to distract, and somebody trying to catch out Dowie past the sentry gun, and everybody else just on ready to leave, basically, if things go bad. And hope for the best there, and at least have the opportunity to re-push with numbers once everybody respawns. But they just were too keen on that one, and now it's them being pushed.
CJ trapped in.
Geordie misses his shot close range though.
Stay alive? He stayed alive so well. Mac's actually going for a play onto CJ. CJ's so low, that last stick nearly got him. Khaled's going down. That's not too bad for either team. Anyone could win this, but Mac goes down to Neon. We've got App and Yeehaw. He's returning the favor for the demo, getting CJ as well. Viljak, the only one left in mid right now. And Eklund is a respawner, and that's going to be a really good push from the Theorists, even though they lost quite a few players.
Yeah, it was a tough start for them, and he still managed to turn around yet again. Will secure themselves huge advantage for last. A few players still around. Eklund and Toast waiting in the corners of the second point, trying to catch out Dowie, and Eklund might do it a shot away, but he just barely doesn't hit it, and the spam won't connect with the soldier spamming all the way from last. Dowie getting really lucky there, and it will secure them the opportunity to end this basically right now.
Yeah, they will be able to do so if they're looking to go into lobby. There's a sentry gun on Toast, but that's about it for off classes. Once again, as they use their Uber in, denial from the sentry gun only really stops one player. Colin does some really nice rockets to try and stop it. He's bombed over the top. He's helped quite a lot of damage onto Mac. Mac's going to go down. All of these players down for Theorists. They're still trying to make plays onto the point or onto CJ, and they managed to get it. Geordie managing to do so, and there's going to be a back out from Dowie and Yeehaw. The failed push. Well done by Disney Fangirls.
Yeah, every time these pushes by Fury onto last fail, it's always because once the sentry goes down, they try to rush things a bit too much, and they kind of just either have to play it a lot more passive afterwards and try to rotate, or just go for the safe kill onto the medic for a potential repush immediately after. And they still do get the medic every time, but they could just do it so much easier. And now they have to go through second in the first place and lose players on the way.
And they have lost two players for the Theorists. Disney Fangirls looking in a good position to bully them or maybe even catch them out as they are spamming away. Colin may be able to go in for a bomb of some description, but Matt gets popped up into the air. He's going to go down. But the Uber comes out of Dowie. They pick up Neon, and now they're going on to poor CJ. CJ got nothing in the bag for that. And this post-Uber fight, hopefully, maybe Disney Fangirls can do some sort of surprise. They're not able to do so. Well played by the Theorists. And they're going to take this second with minimal casualties, really. Only Toast, the surviving member of Disney Fangirls.
Yeah, three people even still left to spawn here, while everybody else in Fury already on the entrance into last, getting all the way towards the point. Kevin cover the jumps over, getting CJ so much damage. Jordy gets two before he dies. Colin there to clean up on that. And that's suddenly just three left, three spawners that just arrived through the case, trying to save the situation. But I don't think it's enough. Viljack going deep onto the scout damage, but it just isn't enough.
Yeah, well done to them, and that's going to be the 5th round going to the Theorists. That was really well played by the Theorists. I felt like there was some scrappy moments, but they managed just to clear house, especially with that double bomb, and deal so much damage that there was nothing they could do. Right, Dom?
Yeah, they have so much going right there. Every time something goes bad, you can just tell it like that is not the right thing to do, because everything else, most of the time, is just so apparently better.
Oh my god, what's Neon doing with the sticky jumper? He's just going in. Denied all of those players, being a huge distraction. There's going to be kind of a slow mid for the Theorists, but Neon just fighting Geordie. It ends up going down. Whilst this is happening, though, really scrappy fight on mid. Toast goes down to a nice pipe for Mac. Eklund trying to make a play onto Dowie, but Dowie's got a nice ball around him. They're keeping him alive. Yeehaw going down as well. Trades for trades, frags for frags. Not looking too great for old Disney Fangirls right now. And CJ trapped in, gonna get cleaned up. And that's a mid, even with that weird play from Neon going to the Theorists. Colin is in the backlines though. He may be able to do something, but I feel like he's too far behind.
Well, at this point, you might as well just do it for the good morale to get spirits high and some optimism going to the next map. And he's clearly having fun, getting a kill, immediately taunts. Knows it doesn't matter for the end of the match. By getting this 4-round deficit done in a minute is obviously impossible. I think we all know that, but just mentality is such a big thing after like such a demoralizing loss, where for such a long time you just didn't have much of a say in the game, and it might as well just end in score difference in the end. Here, that you just need to stay focused, you need to just stay hopeful for the next map. That I want to say is their pick. I'm not 100% sure, because the match page didn't actively specify who picked what, but just given that the first team mentioned this theory, I would imagine they picked the first map here.
Yeah, but right now, just that garbage. That was a really good game. It definitely felt like during pretty much about 80% of the game, the Theorists were in the driving seat, and I feel like sadly there was nothing Disney Fangirls really had in the bag to deny any of the plays that were going their way. They just couldn't handle that constant aggression that I felt was coming out of the Theorists.
Yeah, they definitely needed to slow them down a lot more. I've seen some games with the Theorists before in the past.
They're going to win difference out as well.
Some more passive teams were able to slow them down quite convincingly, and they needed some of that on Disney Fangirls desperately.
Yeah. And so that's the first map going to that. We'll go into logs in a sec. You know, loads of people know that I'm not a huge fan of just looking at the logs straight away. So what were you feeling? Who do you feel was, like, from what you saw, the most impactful for either team?
I think as a whole, the combo on Fury did really well in keeping Dowie alive and protecting him compared to what happened on
Yeah.
Disney Fangirls a lot. Be it CJ's mistakes or his team's, doesn't really matter. In the end, he died so much more than Dowie to a really noticeable extent, which costed them so many situations in so many different fights. And just, I mean, I don't know who specifically to praise there. Maybe the Pocket Scout, maybe the Pocket Soldier, maybe all of them together, maybe the Devilman as well, put them in there. Just they did a really good job of protecting the medic, and that went a huge way.
Yeah, so we can have a look at the logs now. I just like to have that little conversation beforehand before we just start rattling off numbers.
Well,
So
I
have you
mean,
got
the
the
numbers
logs
are
up?
nice, but context to the numbers is always
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I do, and I see some big numbers by the Red Scouts, which I'm not surprised by necessarily. They had huge moments all over the place. Over 300 DPM for this game is pretty good for the Scouts. 35 36 kills, nothing to scoff at for sure. So that's pretty impressive. It's still really nice, despite the scoreline, that the Blue Scouts were able to keep up with that. So that's still
To a
respectable
degree.
for sure. Yeah.
I feel
But then,
like
yeah,
I
like
feel
what I
like
was talking about,
Eklund,
Dowie and CJ 3 to 18 deaths. That's just such a big difference.
Yeah, I feel like Eklund really put in a lot of work. I feel like Toast had a bit of a struggle, to be honest, during the game. Like I feel like he wasn't able to be as impactful as both Yehor and Af were. Like some of their plays where they were cleaning up damage on Mac was so good. Like Mac would be dealing that little bit of damage here and there, and if there were any bombs or anything like that, they were straight in, first in to kind of deal as much as they can, clean up kills, and it does show in the logs for them.
Also, some indirect consequences of the whole medic death situation is that if you sort by damage taken, Mac and Jordy took just so much more than anybody else on the server, especially Mac, and they were just able to tank all of that damage with Dowie just being alive so much more. Healing done is a difference by like 5,000 even, which is just insane. It's 200 heals per minute more that they have, roughly. That is just outstanding.
And with only one drop, like Dowie has a drop, but he had 16 Uber charges if you include that
that's
drop.
also a 33% drop rate on his Ubers.
And look at those mid fights as well. Only one mid fight going to Disney Fangirls, the rest all going to Theorists. Like they were so dominant this entire game. And even if you looked at like the damage difference, there's a huge, like nearly 3,000 extra damage on the side of the Theorists. But we kind of talked about logs. Shall we move on to the next map and have a little chit chat about what's going on?
The one thing I did think they should need to take a look at going forward on the Fury is definitely the last pushes, especially like the standard pushes where the gun was up, where, like I mentioned before a little bit, they just rushed things too much. They got the gun and they just wanted to rush immediately, but the Uber was fading as they were rushing in, and they just got themselves into a not really advantageous fight at that point anymore. Just a 6v6, like deep sack into Lars once the gun was down, and it just defeats the purpose of the advantage push. And so many other teams just played a lot more passive from like the opposite side of the last point than the holding team, and have something from the flank initiate first while point bait comes in and stuff like that. Just well coordinated stuff that they just lagged a little bit on these last pushes a bit. The silver lining was that they caught CJ on those last pushes still consistently, which is good, but you know, it just is so much easier to just win around all right instead of just grinding it over and over again.
Also, one thing before we go to the map, I've just realised that you and I are using the exact same photo for our caster thing.
I didn't get to take one at I-63, which I'm really upset about.
Yeah. No, I just noticed that we're using the exact same photo, just different parts of it. Sorry, that's completely unrelated. I just noticed that looking at the stream. But going into Granary, so this is where last pushes are. You mentioned like a little bit of a struggle on the Theorists for last pushes. This is where last pushes are really important. This is a hard last to push against a good team. You have a heavy up on that pipe, and it can be an absolute nightmare to go into Granary last. So they're to kind of cap this off and make it 2-0 for the Theorists. They really need to be working on their last pushes. And as there are some Highlander teams, I don't think any of the Highlander players. I don't think any of the Highlander players do main heavy, but they may have that ability to off class onto that on the side of Disney Fangirls. So we may see some some quite concise holds from them, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah. And I'm interested in the mid. We've seen such a dominating presence from Theorist soldiers that it's going to be a scary outlook for CJ specifically on these mid fights, trying to stay alive from that, and they need something to counter that. Having your mid stay alive at the end of a granary mid specifically, obviously any mid, but granary especially, with how soldier centric the mid fight can be, it's going to be super important for any team to keep their medic alive. Even Dowie, sure, he barely died last game, but it's going to be a bit harder here, especially in the mids, like I mentioned, and not dying on the mid for Dowie is going to be huge if they can keep that up.
Yeah, it could be really interesting. I feel like if Colin and Viljak can do some really nice impactful plays, especially during the mid, we'll be able to see some real popping off from Disney Fangirls. I feel like that's what I'm going to be watching, is how these soldiers play granary mid, because they're the main impact. I feel demos aren't too strong on this mid, because they kind of just get stuck out and they're kind of chasing all of what's going on. But the soldiers are the real initiators and the ones that make this happen.
Yeah, for sure. What I'm also interested in is how pushes out of last will look here, because we've seen a lot of them technically, but realistically most of them didn't result in any lasting momentum, especially for Disney Fangirls. Most of the time it was just this awkward trading of points back and forth where the Ubers just got closer and closer over time until it was basically even again, which is still alright, especially if you're on the lead, but if you're on the back foot, that's kind of the opposite of what you want. It just gets you stuck on last again. It's just not on disadvantage, but still it's stuck on last, which is never good. So process is similar to Granary 1 map, where you have, comparatively to some other maps, a bit of an easier time pushing out of last. Once the other team messes up a bit, once you have 1 or 2 picks, you can pressure a lot easier. But you still have to be really careful. You have to be really smart about how and when to use your Ubers to not just use into nothing, much like on process. So I'm interested to see if either of these teams can step up the game from what we've seen last game in that regard.
I'm trying to think of other stuff that I feel like it's going to be really important. So one thing I like to see is that we saw that IT push out of the Theorists. So we may see a nice little, lunchbox push coming out of them during seconds. But we will be live in a moment. So we will be going on to this. So for those who have just joined us, welcome to Team Fortress TV. We are covering the ETF2L Season 31 Div 1 Upper Bracket Final versus the Theorists and Professional Disney Fangirls. This tournament is sponsored by STN.TF Trading and as well as Copenhagen Games. So we're coming in onto this first mid, and Neon looks like he's a lot further forward and a lot quicker in than Mac. And we're going to wait for that initiation from either team as they try and start off this mid fight. CJ very far forward, getting spammed by some players, not able to do too much. Geordie actually the first one to make an attempt. Viljak going in for the response. Khaled uses that as distraction. Perfectly goes on to CJ, takes CJ down. Now the play's onto Dory. Dory's trying to back out, but gets cleaned up by Viljak. And that's actually going to be the first mid. Nice responsive bombs coming out of Disney Fangirls.
That's such a classic granary mid. Just chess maneuver of one team makes a move, the other team uses this to call out a mistake, and then just immediate reaction off of your own mistake to make
4D
up for
chess,
one
my
team.
dude.
Yeah, exactly. One team jumps, the other team tries to counter jump that, uses that as bait to get the second soldier onto the medic, and then immediately afterwards, all of blue team was just ready to just destroy Dowie. And Viljak, I think, hit some really nice long-range rockets across the entirety of Garage to just make up for the earlier med death. And at the end of the day, that's just enough here. If your medic doesn't stay alive, the least you want is that their medic dies as well, so they can't just re-push easily into mid. And they've gotten exactly what they wanted here, even if it didn't work out as perfectly as they wanted to. It's still second for them. They got all the way to the Yard and have the power position of Granary, which is just having this whole start up here, and it's so hard to leave. It's also hard to enter, but it's easier to enter than to leave here for the blue team right now than it is for the red team, so it's just a matter of time until somebody makes a move here.
Yeah, it's going to be a classic sort of stalemate as we see maybe a bit of rotation into Lunchbox. Both soldiers looking to maybe catch a player out. Not able to do so. Viljak going up, seeing if he can catch Clade, but Clade's backing out quite nicely. Right now, it's kind of down to who can get a decent pick. It's all about creating that opportunity. But there's quite a nice amount of sight lines and areas being held. This is a really hard area to push into. And yeah, Disney Fangirls not really able to break any of the defense right now. Looking constantly, we're seeing rotations out of Viljack and Colin, as well as the combo themselves, just to see if they can break through, but they're not able to do so. What are you looking for, Dom, when it comes to, you know, breaking this stalemate situation right now?
It's tough. The easy answer is to just have really good coordination, but it's so easy to say that in comparison to executing that, because like in a dream scenario, you're able to throw a soldier and while the demo can spam over the point, but Mac is obviously in position to try to prevent the demo from just walking in through shutter to throw on damage. Viljack is obviously too scared to commit, with Collate and who's that Yeehaw being close around him. It's really hard, so you need to be patient here. You need to just wait out the stakes, and Jordy almost makes one, walking straight in front of Viljack. Viljack himself wants to commit as well a bit, finds himself in front of Collate and doesn't overcommit himself, and that's really important here. It's just this mentality thing you need to have in a lot of these stalemates in TF2. And it's interesting because we know how aggressive Fury likes to play and how aggressive they want to be at all times. And just push, 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 but in situations like these you just can't, and if Disney Fangirls have the better composure here, it makes such a big difference. But in the end, it's them messing up first. Ekelon walks into a sticky trap. It's not a big deal, but it could be if they
can abuse it.
Patient enough here.
Yeah, Jordy looking to go in through Z, but we got a drop down attempt coming from Yeehaw. He checks it. I don't think he was going to go down it, but he could have. There was a lot of focus on the players trying to come through Z. Eklund is going to join the team very shortly and be able to help them. But on Sniper, like you mentioned, there's not a huge amount of sightlines available, but if you're able to get a Sniper into a good position, there isn't a huge space for Dory to really move. So
we see the double off class as well, Yeehaw on the other side on Spy, and you know, most people don't like Stalemate, but I respect it right now because they seemed really defeated at the end of the process, and being able to go into a new map, fresh mindset, just ignore what happened and just do what you need to like slow down the other team and potentially win, and just execute what you need to do here. This is so important, and it just shows that they still take it serious and haven't given up yet after a single loss. Question is if Fury have the same level of composure here right now. They have Yeehaw on Spy, so they're willing to play the patient game. But if they can able to do that just now off of a single Spy is the other question, because it's a lot less safe, obviously.
Yeehaw needs to be constantly speaking to his team, letting them know where they are. You know, like they may be able to look at bursting through Shutter right now onto Neon, because the rest of Disney Fangirls aren't in a good spot. Jordy tries to make a play, gets really low, nearly gets chased out actually, and still Yeehaw just very patiently
Jordy
looking for an opportunity.
Well.
They get CJ! Oh my god! That was insane! How did they get away with that? They're just able to get straight onto CJ, clean him up. Neon's going to go down as well. And that was a good play from the Theorists. Just a sudden burst of organised aggression, and there was nothing the Fangirls could do.
That's exactly what I was talking about, though. Just this level of composure that Disney Fangirls need when the patience on the other team just runs out. They just need to be ready for some sudden movement, and they just weren't. They just completely overran them. Sure, they only got 2 picks, but it's exactly the ones they needed. They keep small advantage up here as well, which is even bigger in the long run here. Not just getting the point, but also getting something to keep the pressure up forward. They won't get into yard. They have only 15%, but that's enough to be scary sometimes. The drawback here, however, is that Yeehaw is still on Spy, which sure can get a surprise pick, but it just makes any actual fight a lot harder.
It does, and Yeehaw still on that Spy very patiently. I don't know, like I don't see any sort of awareness of there being a Spy on the side of Disney Fangirls, so Yeehaw just needs to decloak quite far away from CJ. Because CJ was just so quick to realise that there was a Spy behind him. So Yeehaw looking to go for it. He goes for the stabbing.
You can't stab high dynamics.
Yeah.
It's just impossible.
So smart. Like CJ just heard that and straight away turned around. That was like instant. So well played by him. This is why you don't do your officials with music on, boys.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And,
well,
it's unfortunate for sure, but it
doesn't
now
really
forces
matter.
A new stalemate on the game here, and a new set of circumstances that need to happen. And this time it's a bit more of a proactive situation for Fury.
Yeah, sorry. Jordy's just bruting his way in. Creates an opportunity for Collide. Collide goes for the play onto CJ not able to do it, not able to get the force. Now they're backpedaling the Theorists. They don't want the aggression to come back on their side. And they're holding everything quite nicely. They're going to stop them coming in. CJ and Eklund looking to maybe go in, but they don't want to stay on there too much. Eklund taking a lot of spam and a lot of damage, and we're going to have things reset once again.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like I mentioned, it's a bit more of a proactive situation here for Fury. They have the, like, even if not by much, but if you compare who has the easier time doing anything on this situation, it's clearly the team on mid that has an easier time jumping and spamming the CJ catching a pipe straight through the door. That takes a lot of damage, but has a pack to fall back on, luckily, so it's not too scary at the end of the day. But yeah, this is a huge difference, even if it doesn't seem like much, because you can just see how much more aggressive they are compared to the last time, and they try so much more now, which is good and bad, because sure, they get stuff done, they get out Neon here, but it also could potentially force out mistakes, and it does force out their Uber first here, but Jolly with the nice reaction to catch out Toast immediately after. CJ not able to reach him in time. That's 2 picks on the exchange here, which is really big. Jolly going weak, but they can't overstay their welcome on Yard. And in the end, so far, these situations in the stalemates are still slightly always going in the favor of the Fury here.
Yeah, Theorists looking to kind of brute force their way in once again. I think that's Geordie's main strat this entire game, is just to brute force it in. And yeah, it's just whenever anything needs to be done, Geordie, yeah, but sadly he does go down, but it's going to be a trade. Khaled manages to pick it up, and right now we're seeing a lot of Disney Fangirls players trying to catch people out. They're not able to do so. Geordie and Viljack being the only deaths during that whole exchange. It's so hard for the attacking team to actually get into this second.
Yeah, and yet again, the second stalemate here, Yard to the second point, this time reverse situation that we've seen before. And I stand by my statement. It's up to the red team right now, the team on Yard, to make the moves here more so than the holding team and try to break this. And like you mentioned, they just like these like small, out of nowhere aggressive plays for exchanges to surprise people, and it's been going in their favor so far. Disney Fangirls needs to be able to catch onto this. They can't get caught by surprise by it. Viljack, speaking of which, wants to surprise it from behind. Khaled and Ehol just barely see it coming in time. It's a trade, could be worse. They still want to go with this either way, and these surprise pushes have the consequence that they always have at least a slightly worse. But last time it wasn't by much. This time it's by a decent amount, so they have to kite it out really early. Jolly goes behind, that's the main goal they wanted to have.
Oh my god, he got CJ!
That's exactly what they were looking for. This rotation behind. They knew a repush was coming either way. Wanted to break out straight into the soldier in the back lines. Really well done by Jordy and Cole. Now they just need to wait this out a little bit. They are 2 down. They need to be careful here. But stuff just sags in and Dowie gets called out by it. Goes down regardless of how much effort they put into that. They're huge by Disney Fangirls, this turnaround right now.
Yeah, that would have been such an amazing position for the Theorists, and well done for Disney Fangirls for snatching that away from them, getting Dowie. But Yeehol going in for the chase, trades with Neon. They're still so aggressive. Geordie looking to go in with Af. They're still like waiting to go on to second. They may be able to cap it out. I think Disney Fangirls want to contest this. Colin going to do so. They're going to back out Geordie and Af. And actually, Af's going to reconnect with his medic. Mac doing a lot of damage, gets trapped on some geometry, but not able to get picked up.
Yeah, really unfortunate now for the Fury to not be able to execute off of that properly. Dowie goes down, and that suddenly just neutralizes all of this advantage situation they had, bringing it back to almost even. CJ didn't have anybody in spawn because everybody needed sacks, so Dowie has advantage by a usable amount, and speaking of that, they do use it immediately, and since CJ doesn't have, they can't do much about that. Try to chase it, but CJ gets just in time, has to pop still quite early, just due to the threat of Jordy, weren't quite forward enough. Catch him outdoor, can't do much else with this Uber, but 2 down. It's a really, really good start. People out of position, speaking of it, College as well in the backlines, going out from Viljack, that's all they were looking for. This is the mistakes they need to counter, and they finally are able to do a Dowie alone.
Dowie's
going
to die.
Seconds away from spawns, coming this
Run,
way,
man.
but it's too much, maybe. Nice surf, but the scout is in his face, will go down.
Close.
Can Jordy Ehor catch anybody? No, they can't. They couldn't get a counter fractor, which would have been nice at least, not a huge difference, but maybe potential like ability to sack or at least hold second in any capacity. It's gone now with automatic, pretty much impossible unless they find a miracle play onto CJ.
12 minutes into the game, we've not seen a run for either side, but you know, it's been quite intense. It's been a lot of coast to coasts. but not really when it comes to last. But when it comes to this point right now, second, neither team really able to cap it off and get in a good position. And there's a lot of spam going on to Viljak right now, and he's baiting the point, trying to get it up for his team. There's a nice rotation under Lunchbox from CJ and his team. They've used that Uber. They're trying to get onto players, but there's a really, really good kite coming out of the Theorists. They haven't lost anyone to this Uber. Now they're looking to go in for the punish. There's a lot of damage going.
They get the demo, man. No. That's really big. Dowie is so far away from having. Colleague goes high, but catches so much damage. Has to go back to spawn, which wastes a lot of time. These people alone on the point. Eklund gets some space on it. Viljak as well gets some damage, but they're just alone. Everybody's too far on the right. Toast gets the kill for it. But on the point, it's just all red people against 2 blues that just can't do anything about it. And for what didn't start as a great push, that was actually dangerously close in the end with the damage they gotten on the recontest post-Uber.
That could have gone either way. That really could have gone either way. Like if there was a little mistake from Dowie.
Yeah, just a bit of a different decision about how to play the point would have made a huge difference there. The back pick was just so important. Now, with the advantage they have, they try to take the point. CJ isn't far away from having, but they already had to abandon the point to even get to this position, so it's gonna be a tough one to try to contest, but they do go forward. They wanted to keep fighting this. Dowie pops first around the corner. Again, slightly worse Uber from them immediately, so they need to make something happen.
It's all about this post-Uber
but so far
fight.
they leave, and Charlie gets called out. Didn't leave quickly enough, didn't have anybody with him. Had to leave. The time didn't quite manage to do so. Everybody's blue on the point. Colin gets spammed down. Collate gets another pick himself. That's 2 blue people down really late into this, but they already abandoned the point before that.
Yeah, that was very unlucky, but it's not been too bad right now for either team. They're trying to, you know, create advantages where there are none, get things in into perspective for their team just to be able to push forward. To be honest, both teams have had some really good responses to the other team's plays, and I think that's what's making this so close on this map, is everyone's trying to make a decent... Oh my god. Viljak managing to juke everyone, jumping over. Yeah, that was quite impressive. Oh, look at this decloak though. He's managed to decloak right onto Dowie. He gets Dowie. That's a really good situation.
Can he get he can. That's 2 for 1 on the off class. That's huge. Nice spam by his teammates on the flank to enable that little pistol spam to get the final blow there. Now just a matter of keeping Jordy out of the faces, because he's been a huge playmaker and he's behind lines. But he needs to be quick. The CJ has, and they will pop in.
They're pushing in on this right-hand side right now. After trying to deny, the Uber's gone in. They're chasing Mac down. Dowie comes in, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Collade bombing onto the point, trying to push people off. They're trying to deny. Right now, they're pushing people off right now. It's only Dowie, and Dowie gets CJ. Oh my god, they hold it!
They just sacked for the point too early, but there's a single soldier coming in. Viljak comes in and he only blocked the point. And that will be the end of this round. 15 minutes is what it took here in the end, but Disney Fangirls are still certainly in this.
Yeah, that was such a scrappy end. Like, Dowie and Yeehaw managing to survive it out, but luckily for Disney Fangirls, Viljak is able to bring that point into conclusion. And this is going to be the second mid. We're 16 minutes in. It's 1-0 to Disney Fangirls. And on this mid, Neon's got a good bit of spam onto Mac right now. It's all about the initiation. Jordy looking to actually create a lot of distractions as Collade tries to go for a high bomb, gets Eklund. Jordy actually went down as well. Viljak with the response once again, getting a 2k. Nice work from him, as actually Disney Fangirls are cleaning house right now. Dowie is trapped in. He's trying to stay alive, bless him. He goes down. Mac, the only survivor, kill binds, and that's going to be another mid for Disney Fangirls.
That's what they needed on Forces so much more of, just these proactive mids where they can just perfectly react and read what the opponent is doing, and it works really well. And this is where nerfs come, and this is where mentality plays a huge role. This first round took forever, and it was so close on both ends to go either way. And in the end, it comes down to a small little mistake by Yeehaw, and suddenly all of these coming stalemates going forward could mean so much more, and every single mistake is so much worse when you're 1 round down.
Yep, and now, bad situation for the Theorists to be in. They're on an Uber disad. They've got that sentry gun up though, and CJ goes really low but ends up using... They're trying their best. Toast just standing on point, and there's nothing
nobody the
Theorists could do.
They were just too scared of Uber, and I mean, rightfully so, but something needs to happen, and they didn't lose the gun. They felt safe, but they didn't just cover the point enough. And suddenly this confidence built up from the really strong first map is just slowly being taken apart here by Disney Fangirls, and at this point he can slow this down again to a crawl here and just force plays out of Fury until a mistake happens.
So we went from a 15-minute match to about a minute and a half round. So right now, big bombing from Khalid onto CJ, straight in, gets that frag. It's going to get super low. Now we're going to see some sort of response. Colin goes in onto Doe. Doe surfs really nicely, but he's going to be found by Toast as well. He's got his entire team trying to protect him. He gets that pack and stays alive. Eklund making the last attempt onto Doe. Going to get cleaned up. That's a wipe, and that's the first mid of Granary going to Theorists.
Yeah, that was so important as well. Colin with the huge early pick. You really don't want to lose your medic, even obviously in general on a mid fight, but especially not as late as it could have happened there for Doe if he didn't get that pack, because they would have just gotten disadvantage out of like getting the med kill early basically, which is weird to think about, but that's just how it is if you just don't protect your medic in time, and thankfully so they did in time. Doe stays alive, and this is what they need right now. They can't get caught in stalemates too much, so they need to be able to execute off of this. And we criticized the last pushes a bit before on Uber advantage with time to set up here. We don't see a setup yet. Disney Fangirls don't think they had the time, and they unfortunately had to put up at least.
They're going to use this Uber over pipe right now, though. They're trying to chase out CJ. They do get the frag onto CJ. Mac ends up going down, but this is not too bad for the Theorists. They just need to start cleaning houses. They do lose their med. They've got some people joining in now. Collet helping push off the point. They clean it up. That's going to be 2-1. The return is coming back from the Theorists.
Yeah, willingly or not, Dowie worked as a perfect bait there. He just took way too long to die, and they wanted him to die, and it's just the least useful frag you can have in a situation like this holding fast. The medic is just the least of your concerns at that point, and it just took too long for them to clean them up, and everybody else on Fury had time to clean up in response to that.
Yep, and coming into this fourth mid, we're seeing a lot of action now between both of these teams. They're just looking to wipe on these mids and go straight onto last and start converting points. And Khalid, again, tries to go for a big bomb, decides against it, but create the distraction for Jordy to go in. But Viljack, nice return, actually gets him. And Neon Eklund going down. There's a lot of frags for either team. Things are looking a little bit better for the Theorists. They're going to push them out, but they don't want to risk losing CJ. So Disney Fangirls are backing out all the way to second. We're going to get that stalemate again.
Yeah, and Disney Fangirls have to be careful now. Fury is not out of this by any means, and it's a matter of how much are they willing to risk to stay in this aggressively to get another round on the board compared to just holding back. Because the more freedom they let this team get, the more they will try, the more chances they will give them, and we've seen how much they're able to convert off of small stuff in this map, even specifically, not just Smash in general.
Jordy going in for a big Uber play, not able to do it. The exchange is happening right now. CJ trying to clean up, help his team. Jordy's just doing a massive chase onto Neon, cleans him up. Viljack went down as well. Jordy's trapped in though. He's going to go down, but that distraction means they're going to get second, and they're already in last. They're going to start with AF. They're going to put a lot of pressure onto those players. CJ bringing his team very far forward. They pick up Khalid and AF. Matt goes down as well. Yehor is trapped in, manages to get out through pipe, and that's going to be a failed push by the Theorists.
That was so worth it by Jordy to go for the demo kill, and then they just bunch up in front of a single shutter door and get just teamed up on by all of Disney Fangirls. Instead of spreading out a little bit smarter, playing it a little bit slower, coming into last instead, trying to play the numbers better, and just didn't mean anything in the end. Nice play, but that's just not it. Unfortunately, even Ubers again, much more comfortable for Disney Fangirls here right now to have the situation. It's again only a single round lead with the one round. Fury did get on the board here, so it's not the huge safe lead they maybe wanted to have before this game will slow down, but it is one nonetheless. And now it just comes down to having a stronghold. You don't have a great position to push out. You need to rely on the enemy team to mess up and have a strong defense yourself.
But these soldiers going in for a play, they're going to pick up Colin, but Viljack is actually there as well and it's going to help quite nicely, but the Uber has been forced. CJ doesn't have to use, but he's taking a lot of damage. He ends up getting forced in the end. Doey's going to have to back out. There's a lot of spread.
as well, trying to rotate behind them. Huge pipe into scout cleanup there. That is an important pick. They still want to try to convert a little bit more of this get yard maybe, but they will team up there with everybody else on the server basically and try to take a fight. Mac gets Leo, but he gets caught. It doesn't matter. He gets CJ with a spare sticky just across the scouts. clean him up, but they commit in and Colling is there to clean up off of him. And it's just such a mess.
Yeah,
they
just both
didn't need
teams,
to rush in on.
both teams making mistakes and losing their meds as a result. But players will be surviving for the Theorist. Viljack in a very interesting position in Z. No one's going to really know he's there. He's going to make a play onto point to try and clean up someone. He's taken a lot of damage. He's going to get cleaned up. But he bought time for the rest of his team to actually try and get into lobby. But they're not able to do so. And on this second right now, there's going to be a setup. Little bit of advantage for Dory right now, actually.
Yeah, but it's not huge, and I'm not sure if they even are worth too much. Still, though, they don't even care about that to begin with. They just want to take care of the number situation. They catch out Calling immediately. Disney Fangirls just not ready for the surprise plays, and everybody takes so much damage by it. They just get overrun.
They just need to bait
completely.
point right now, as Viljack's going to get cleaned up on the top end. Nice work from the Theorist to make it 2-2. That was a really good dry push into last.
Yeah, they have just these plays out of nowhere that Disney Fangirls aren't ready for. The holds are just not set up enough to deal with that, and that makes all the difference here. Both rounds are heavily to contribute to that, as well as just the general back and forth nature of this. Without those, Disney Fangirls would be probably running away with this in a really slow game, but they just can't stop those too consistently at the moment.
Yep, and on to this fifth mid. So right now, this means a lot for Disney Fangirls because they will be knocked into the lower bracket final if they do lose this. And Eklund's actually the first to go down, but trades from both teams. There's a lot of pressure from the Theorists. Max trying to get a lot of damage onto the demo. The demo's going to get cleaned up in the end by a roller, and they're going to win this mid. But CJ backed out at the right time, going to stay alive, and they're going to be able to hold on to second, I hope.
Yeah, this is gonna be crunch time right now. 4.5 minutes roughly on the clock still left. Neon nearly about to spawn, but they want to contest second regardless without that demo. Both teams in a position where you need to use sooner or later if you try to commit in any further. But Dowie doesn't want to, and Jordi has to die as a consequence of that. So they get a kill here, Disney Fangirls. It's not much, but it's something, and at some point in this game you need to ask yourself, do we want to go to a golden cap, risk a mid-fight, or just risk a push outright? And so far it's Viljack making the move, but Dowie survives on so low HP.
It just literally
unsuccessful.
a stray scattergun shot could have taken him out then, so that's really lucky for Dowie to actually survive there, dumb.
Yeah, that is huge right now. That would have been such a game changer right now. Now all they have to do here is throw something in, and it's still perfectly fine. They have a pick, they can make some sort of play here. They try to, but Disney Fangirls just pop in on that, now taking the initiative here themselves to take these sort of input trades that we've seen out of Theory before. Question is what the plan is here right now. They're lacking the initiative to go behind with that. The soldiers get denied by Calling and the combo bottom and top. Jordi still busts through, gets Calling pushed back. Viljack goes back to deny that, but it gives up so much space on second at the expense of a single pick. And that's just still in the end worth it for Theory.
Yeah, Theory getting that second point. Jordi is down, but he's coming back in 4 seconds. If they can just hold on to second, wait for Jordi, maybe get an advantage, maybe get some sort of... Jordi's going to go for the spy play. So, yeah, he is going to be going for that spy play. So that's kind of what they're leading on for this last push. So they need to find an angle, really, for him to get in on. Can he actually drop down from window and not take damage?
I'm not sure. Maybe if he like awkwardly strays into a little bit of the geometry low, like the tire and stuff like that. Maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Either
so
way,
they're gonna have to rotate him up there and give that a shot, I think, or maybe just get him to walk through. He just needs to time this so perfectly. Toast with a nice sentry gun spot. He's gonna do it. He doesn't take any damage dropping on that right hand side, so he can do so. Now he's feeding all of this information to his team. You know, having a cloaked spy in the backlines, even if he doesn't get the backstab, it's actually a really, really good thing, because they now know where the sentry gun is. Then more importantly, they know where the dispenser is, because that's like the most important pick. How did Eklund know? Did Eklund actually land a shot onto Jordi then? They're checking.
I think he's just paranoid because nothing's happening, and the more nothing happens, the more you have to be afraid of off-classes. Because at some point somebody was saying, like, no,
they tried to go in for... That would have been a really good
still
play.
in danger, and he gets forced eventually. The final shot was what put him in like death range, basically. He was kind of forced to use it. It's still an RNG pistol, but you don't want to drop to an RNG pistol at the end of the day. Really, really nice coordination, man. That's exactly what they needed. 2 down doesn't mean a whole lot. They backed off early, doing what they need to do here, waiting for numbers, but they pop through early. They don't have players up yet to block the point. Sentry up on second. Kind of interesting. We waste a lot of time. Yeehor gets a kill. The sentry goes down to the demo man. Uber wasted down. That's the only single pick they have right now, which could be a lot worse for the defense here. Still, they're trying to dry push in through the left side
Look
door.
at this
Anyway,
work,
they get so much damage.
They get so much damage onto those players. They clean house. Well done by the Theorists. What a repush. And they just managed to bunch up all of those players, Dom. Jesus, that was good.
Alright, it's not much of like a big call to make here, but whoever wins the mid fight has the chance to win this. Like if Disney Fangirls doesn't win the mid fight now, it's over pretty much.
It's over, yeah. So
This is all it comes down to. You have barely a minute left, which is barely enough time to get around in the first place, so you can't be playing from the back foot here anymore.
No, they need to play really aggressive, and actually Mac takes a sticky. He's going to pick up that little pack on top of Crate, but he's still taking a lot of spam. It's all down to what Viljack and Colin are going to do, but Geordie goes straight in, trying to deal some damage. They get CJ, they get Neon as well. There's some really key... Oh my god, they get the entire flipping team, with Viljack the only one left going down, and I don't like calling it, but so far I've seen people do it, but, you know, well done. But I'm not going to call it, just in case. Don't want that caster's curse. Let's see what happens.
A minute left, both medics spawn. They actually delayed our spawn by a little bit there, by capping the point. Doesn't matter too much, it's still mildly even for all intents and purposes. And all they need to do here is hold against it. A minute, you can push across everything here in a minute, and it's just a matter of holding really well here. And Mag isn't doing a good job of that, just gets called out in a shutter door. Dies pretty early. It's a matter of split seconds they need to do it, but they just don't care holding right now.
Yeah, but look at these picks.
The backup is coming in. They need to rush this, and it just creates huge holes in the defense, and the backup will just deny any hopes and dreams from going forward for way too long. Mid is still being capped, but nobody is with 2 people on the midpoint right now.
But yeah, so right now they're getting very... You know, I mentioned before that I shouldn't say anything, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because Kalade's taking a lot of damage. They've got all the way into second. They clean up Dowie as well. They clean up Mag. This could be it. They are so close. They're making the play out to the point right now. They're getting time. This is good enough. Oh, that was so close. Couple of seconds quicker, and they could have equalized that out. But congratulations to Theorists going to the grand final, and commiserations to Disney Fangirls, who will be playing against
the French team. I don't know the name, and I don't
They've
speak
got
French,
Olga and
unfortunately, but it's very French. I know Olga's honestly talking
very
about
French. Well,
Yes,
shall we
indeed.
just call them very French?
Sure, why not? They are going to play against the French team. Every team with 6 Frenchies is just a French team.
Yeah, no matter what.
Basically. So yeah, they're going to play against the Frenchies, and that's going to be interesting.
What a game, though.
Yeah, that was really good. The first map was a little bit of a wash, but it was still impressive to see how they did it anyway. And the second map was really, really close. I'm glad I requested to be watching this, because this was really interesting, and I hope I gave some good insight on how teams did things, because that's all I really wanted to do here.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed your insight. So all I'm going to ask now is, I'm going to do that thing I did in the last one. I'm going to tell you mine, though. I think Geordie was my man of the match. If I had to pick a man of the match.
Especially for the second map, for sure. Like, he did so much there. It's such a shame. There was one play on last where he created such a huge opportunity, like a 2-for-1 pick situation with the demo went down, and they still beefed it regardless by just being bunched up on the shutter door way too much, which is a huge shame, but they still managed to recover from that. And yeah, he definitely made a lot of huge plays. It was impressive.
Yeah, I feel like he did a really good work, and I also feel like there was some good plays from Viljack. I feel like if I had to pick a team from a player from Disney Fangirls, Viljack would take my love as well, because he did some really, really, really good work. So yeah, we'll have a look at the logs now. I just like doing that. I feel like both those players just tried their best to create opportunities, so I'm giving them a shout out.
Yeah, that was the performances all around here today, and Eklon actually getting top kills by 23 compared to 20 on Corley. Both soldiers on the red team, obviously doing a lot of work, as you would expect on this map specifically. having to do a lot of this, especially in the mid fights. They were obviously the initiators, as you would expect, and they certainly delivered on that end. And again, really, really well played all around there.
Yeah, I'll just have a look. I know I'm not the biggest brain of the bunch, but I'll have a look and see if anything's important. Actually, there is one really important stat. Viljak with the 14 air shots.
Yeah, but how many of those were real? That's kind of we were talking about with the pipe glitch.
Yeah.
So, let's give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's like half of what everybody has. So it's 7 for him and like 3 for Jordy. That's really good then, all around.
It's just numbers. Big numbers. Yeah! But alongside that, Viljak actually putting out top damage, but Dory actually dying more than CJ on this map.
Yeah,
very different.
Mostly came down to the mid fights as well. Like most of the mid fights were close. The first 2 went to Disney Fangirls. The least of them were involving medics actually leaving it alive as well, which is to be expected on this map for sure. I mean, one of the first was just like, I think the first one especially was just like one medic gets jumped, everybody on the other team counter jumps the other medic immediately, like you need to basically in most situations, and that's just how it goes down a lot of the times. I think something important to look at is the deaths after charge stat, which isn't a huge difference between the 2 medics. It's only 2 to 1, but it obviously always makes a difference if you come out on top with a medic alive after exchanges. And both teams had the success, obviously, but they went so much better for free a lot of the times. Like the weird sort of out of nowhere pushes that completely just walked over CJ and co. And CJ, like the stats say, obviously didn't stay alive at least 2 times here afterwards. And even if he did, a lot of the times they still managed to get some sort of other advantage out of them. So those sort of advantage situations, or not advantage, those sort of exchanges were a huge asset to Theory's play.
But moving on swiftly, we have some interviews. So I'm just going to welcome the gentleman in. So we have CJ from Disney Princess Fangirls, and then we have Mac and Jordy from
the Theorists.
The Theorists. What's that noise?
What noise?
Yeah, like banging something.
Oh, sorry. That's my background.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi. Anyway, on to that. So congratulations, Jordy and Mac, for winning. Commiserations, CJ. I kind of like doing this from a map by map basis, so I want to talk about the first map first. So CJ, that first map was pretty rough for you guys. Was how did you kind of feel going into that? Was it kind of how you expected, or did you feel like it was harder than you imagined it was going to be?
It was our map choice. So obviously we picked it thinking we would do well on it. We weren't expecting that kind of scoreline. I don't know. I mean, you just have to look at the difference in the deaths between me and Dowie. Like every mid, the soldiers weren't really denied from our side, so it became very difficult. Like at the start, they just kind of wiped us. And if I die and Dowie survives, then it makes it very difficult for us to hold last. We kind of stabilized halfway through, but I don't know. We just didn't really get into our rhythm. We tried to switch things up and. We were trying to focus different things, I guess, and we just didn't really get into that play style that we wanted to. We like to run sniper sometimes, and it just didn't really work out. I don't know. We weren't switched on at that point, I guess.
Okay, and just quickly, welcome Toast from Disney Princess Fangirls. Glad you can join us.
Professional
Disney.
We're not princesses, please.
He's notoriously bad with names.
I am notoriously bad with names. I get everything confused in my brain. So I do apologize for that. I can speak fast, but I don't think fast. So bear with me, all right? But so Toast, just to go over that question I asked CJ, I was just talking about the first map and kind of your expectations going into it and what actually happened. Is there anything you had the tail end of what CJ was saying. Is there anything you kind of want to add on that?
Well, unfortunately, I got in here just after CJ talked, but well, we definitely expected to win it, or at least hope to. But unfortunately, well, our main issue was just the soldiers, and we weren't able to. Me and Ekelund weren't able to deny them, and we weren't able to sync up properly as a team, which is the main reason why we lost. and
Okay.
then they just fucking out DM'd us. Well, I got out DM'd anyway.
Yeah, and just moving it on to Geordie and Max. So that first match, you guys won quite convincingly with a 6-1 scoreline. Going into that, I noticed some really good work on protecting Dory. Were you expecting to be able to keep him alive like you did? Was that kind of? Do you like deathballing around your medic a lot in your games?
As soon as we get them enemy med, me or Doey just shout for everyone to play with Doey. We all group around him. ASAP, we practice it at length. I don't know, Jordy can fill you in maybe a bit more.
Do we start baiting?
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's
But
true,
yeah.
though.
But yeah, so it was a very, very good choice and play style, especially on that first map. Yeah, Dub, do you got any questions? You're the big brain here.
About process, not really. Granary was obviously
Yeah.
a whole different story, though. That was
Let's
a nail biter in
skip
comparison.
let's skip process because process was not as interesting as the second map. Granary was, I assume then it was the Theorists pick. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys coming into that, you're feeling pretty confident after the first map. How did you guys feel as soon as there was a lot of pressure showed by DPF? Well, they did some they did a really good mid. They managed to scrape that into advantage, and even though it was a slow start, it felt very different. Like there were moments where they were in control. Was it kind of a shock to you guys?
We were very annoyed because we were just not in the position to ever do anything. Like Granary second is just a very rough point to have an initiative. The best you can do is like have a spy. So we just kind of sat and like waited for 10 minutes for them to like sack a scout, and then we took that Uber trade. I nutted in, and we somehow like cringed the push afterwards, and we got like rolled into last. Don't really know how we lost 2 rounds, to be honest.
The second round just came swiftly off the back of the last one, from what I remember. First
But
round.
after the first 2 mids, we adapted really well on what they were doing on mids, which was the turning point.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really close and interesting match. Going into that with CJ and Toast, so you had this really long sort of long uphill battle during the first part, so effectively the first round. But how did you keep your guys kind of going forward and keeping yourself positive? Because I could imagine, I know myself, if I was in your situation going into that second map, I'd struggle to be able to keep going. You know, it's quite a shock, especially if it's your map pick. So did you guys just kind of shake it off and go straight into the second map?
Pretty much. We
Well,
just
yeah.
talked about
So,
stuff.
I mean, we had to win it. So it's not gonna it's more like it's not gonna help being annoyed. So we just said, all right, literally doesn't matter now. We've lost it. Who cares? Let's go to the second map fresh. Like that's just the best idea because you're not gonna get anywhere being tilted. That's pretty simple.
Yeah, that's not. I couldn't be like that. My brain, I'm just too easily tilted, so I'd struggle straight off that. But dumb questions, more analytical questions. I just like to get the feel for things. But you're the man with the brain. Go.
No, I think you covered that really well. That's like the main point I wanted to talk about, like the huge mentality shift that needs to come from the first map being a complete role, and really good for one team and really bad for the other. And the second map rolls around and it just starts with this huge stalemate fest that just like needs to like be approached so differently, and it's just such a stark difference for both of these teams. So it was nice to hear how is that like being approached and that mentality is there to deal with that.
Yeah, and actually, on that map, it was really close, like ridiculously close. Because during the end, the Disney Princess Fangirls managed to get so close to actually capping it out and getting to a golden cap. That was.
Do we start trolling? Like he called for like me to go NG and like stuff like that. He was like, and then like Khalid started getting upset. Like we could actually lose this. Then Dewey started shouting. Like it was just a cluster. I shouldn't say that word, but it was terrible.
Yeah, like you could tell that like the mentality of we already won was certainly there for the last few seconds.
Yeah, like
Don't
yeah.
ever do that.
Mac
Don't ever do that.
literally said, "All right, we're going to finals, boys," and stuff like
And
that.
Well, yeah, and with that in mind, grand finals for you obviously in the bag now. Disney Fangirls still have a match ahead of them against the Frenchies, whose name I keep forgetting because it's in French.
like
Um,
Ali Nanax.
Yeah, exactly.
Like something
something
really
like that.
long.
Yeah, they like way too long names in French. I noticed that. But yeah,
So-
that's the next match ahead for you guys on Disney Fangirls. Obviously, you must have played them this season. Any previous experience with them? How do you feel are your chances?
I think we got a
Well,
good chance.
We feel very confident against the Frenchies. We've never really lost to them other than the official XD. But in the last few scrims we've played against them, we've beat them quite comfortably. So it's a game we really, really should win.
Although we
But,
did
I
drop
guess we'll
points to
see
them in the
on
regular season, so
whenever it's played.
who knows?
Later this week, I suppose.
Oh yeah, that's it from me. And if Grumpy doesn't have anything else, let's just move to shoutouts and call it a day. Let's start up top, CJ.
Shoutouts. Chat to my team.
Shout
Thanks
out
for
to
playing.
his team. Next.
All right.
Whoa!
All right. T comes in the
Oh.
alphabet next to C. Got it. Well, anything
All right.
else?
All right. CJ, just ignore him. Have you got any more shout-outs?
Nah, I'm good.
All
Okay.
right, Jody.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to Spirit. Shout out to Eon.
Shout out to our crude oil sponsor, Eon. Keep it up over there.
Shout out to Slash.
And
All right.
I'd also just like to shout out Hammerham because he forced me to. So let him
Great.
live in shame in chat.
Well, for me, it's shoutouts to Ralph for saying we should win despite having Olga on our team. So that's a challenge for Disney Fangirls. And shoutouts to my boys on Spy Boys. And Grumpy, take it away for the final moments here.
Okay. So yeah, I just want to shout out everyone for watching. I had a lot of fun casting this, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Shout outs to both teams because it was a great little match, especially that second that second map was actually a really, really good time. So yeah, I've been Jake, or the caster formerly known as Grumpy Koi. I've been joined by Gemm on production and DmMmTm as my co-caster. In ETF2L Season 31 Div 1 Upper Bracket Final, the Theorists versus Professional Disney Fangirls. The Theorists net away and going to that grand final. Huge shout out also to our sponsors, which is Copenhagen Games and STN Trading. So thank you everyone, and we will see you in the next one. Bye bye.